Okay, we got some pretty exciting news for you Sur Ron enthusiasts out there with a brand new model coming to the US for the year 2022. And this is the Sur Ron Storm Bee. Here's an article on electric.com posted on October 3rd. The Storm Bee is expected to arrive in the US by February 2023. And here we have a few more images of the brand new model bike. Now, for those that might be a little bit confused, this is not replacing the Sur Ron X Light Bee. As the name suggests, the Light Bee, the one that we're all familiar with, is the more affordable, smaller, less capable offering, and this is the high-end, off-road, completely street illegal version. So it's intended to be a step above what we currently have, a lot closer to the Zero FX. In fact, in the second half of this video, we're going to be doing a head-to-head comparison of this new Sur Ron with that Zero bike, along with the Sur Ron Light Bee. So Sur Ron, the company, was founded in 2014 by 3 motorcycle and technology enthusiasts. With an initial investment of $30 million and 40 engineers, they created their first model, the Light Bee, and launched it in March 2018. And just FYI, this is a Chinese company. These are all produced in Chongqing City.
Chongqing.
Chongqing City, okay. And then the people like you and I can buy these bikes in the US from distributors like Lunicycle. So let's read a little bit more of this electric article. The Sur Ron Storm Bee has impressive specs for a rather small bike, including a liquid-cooled 22.5 kilowatt peak-rated mid-mounted motor pulling out a chain-melting 520 foot-pounds of torque. The 127 kilograms, or 280 pound, two-wheeler claims to have a top speed of 68 miles per hour, and it has a turbo button, so for short periods of time, you can get even more power. At a more modest speed of 25 miles per hour, the bike is rated for an average range of 75 miles. Riders will be able to take advantage of 3 power modes, as well as included traction control and regenerative braking. Okay, it is comparison time. So the Storm Bee on paper, my first impressions, it looks pretty cool. I do want one deep down inside, but in order to properly judge whether or not it's good value, you do have to compare it against the rest of the segment. So to me, the most obvious comparison is the Zero FX. This is the cheapest bike in their lineup, and aesthetically, it's pretty similar to the Storm Bee and is meant to be a more dual sport bike. And aside from the Zero, I think the original Sur Ron is another great point of comparison to see what's giving you the better value. So on the actual main website of the Zero FX, we have specifications of a 7.2 kilowatt hour battery, 91 miles of range, 78 foot-pounds of torque, 85 mile an hour top speed, paired with a price tag of $12,995. And in comparison, the brand new Sur Ron Storm Bee has a beginning MSRP of $8,500. So the Storm Bee definitely has the advantage here, although I have to mention that there is a cheaper model of the Zero FX that has a smaller battery, a 3.6 kilowatt hour capacity, although I didn't see it on their official website, so there's a chance they might not be selling that model anymore, and that's why these specifications I have here are for the more expensive bike with the bigger battery. And then of course the original Sur Ron is a lot cheaper at about $4,400. Now in terms of what you're getting for that price, the brand new Storm Bee has a peak rated power of 25.5 kilowatts. And the Zero FX, again, we're sticking with the higher battery capacity one, that's almost $13,000, does have more power at 34 kilowatts. And in case you're confused, really quick, a kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So 34 kilowatts is 34,000 watts. Although keep in mind, across the board, this is the peak power, so the nominal power is going to be a little bit less. And in terms of the original Sur Ron, the peak power here is a lot less at 6 kilowatts. Now the next category here is torque, because this is not linear with motor power. The bikes can be designed differently, have different gear ratios for different tasks, and here the brand new Storm Bee blows everything else out of the water with 520 newton meters of torque. The Zero FX has 106, and then the original Sur Ron Light Bee actually has 250 newton meters of torque. The next metric here is the top speed, and here we have the exact inverse situation. So the top speed of the Storm Bee is 68 miles per hour, and on the Zero FX, it's 85 miles per hour. So here we can clearly see the trade-off between the top speed and torque. The Zero FX is geared more high to give you a higher top speed, and the Storm Bee is off-road oriented with a lot of low-end power. So the bikes just utilize and implement the power of their motor in two separate ways. And for comparison, the Sur Ron has a top speed of about 43 miles per hour. All right, next up we have the battery, and this is the single most expensive and important piece of any electric vehicle. And for the new Storm Bee, this comes with a 5.7 kilowatt hour battery. And to break that down, that's a voltage of 104 and 55 amp hours of capacity. And 104 volts is massive. In the e-bike world, 72 volts is considered high voltage. And the Zero FX has a battery capacity of 7.2, which is quite a bit larger. And if I had to guess, that makes up most of the price difference between the models. The funny thing is the voltage is actually very similar. So the Storm Bee was 104. The Zero uses 102 volts, and that means the amp hour capacity is just over 70. And then finally, the original Sur Ron has a 1.9 kilowatt hour battery capacity, which is 60 volts and 32 amp hours. Now, unfortunately, the battery capacity doesn't perfectly correlate to range. Tons of factors affect that, including things like the speed that you're traveling at and the way that the bike is geared. But the official numbers I collected is that the Storm Bee has 75 miles of city range, and the Zero FX 91. And based off of the above information, I'm going to make an educated guess and say that if you're doing more off-roading, hill climbing, and just moving slower, the Storm Bee should be more efficient in using its battery in that scenario. And the Zero FX, if you're going faster, you're on the road, this should be the more efficient machine in that scenario. Oh yeah, and then the Sur Ron Light Bee has a range of about 35 miles with its 1.9 kilowatt hour battery. Now to me, the recharge time is a very important part of battery capability and range. And with the Sur Ron Light Bee, they advertise a full charge in 3 to 4 hours on a standard house outlet. That's pretty impressive. And the Zero FX, for comparison, has roughly a 9-hour charge time. And the original Sur Ron also has pretty fast charging, between 3 and 4 hours. Okay, now the second to last category I added here is the weight. And to me, this is super important because it drastically affects the handling and the feel of the bike. And here, the Storm Bee and the Zero FX are actually very similar at 280 pounds and 289 pounds respectively. And then the original Sur Ron has a weight of 120 pounds. And then the final category I thought was very important is the drivetrain of these motorcycles. A huge selling point of the Zero FX is that standard it comes with a high quality belt drive. And the biggest effect that's going to have on you is in terms of maintenance. Belt drives have essentially zero maintenance, they're very tough. And the second is noise. We all know that electric motors are almost silent, but the drivetrain and the moving parts can produce noise. And belts are very quiet and complement the electric motor pretty nicely. But both models of the Sur Ron by default come with a chain drive. But let us know in the comments below what you think of this brand new Sur Ron model coming in 2023 for $8,500. Do you like it? Do you prefer the original or more? If you want my opinion, I'm a huge fan of small yet very capable bikes. And to me, the original Sur Ron Light Bee already accomplished that at a very competitive price point. But let us know what you think in the comments. Before you go, I appreciate a like on the video, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.